The first time anyone in the quiet little town of Ashford, Texas, noticed something strange about Ethan Carter wasn't because he drove an old pickup truck with faded blue paint or because he wore the same pair of worn leather boots almost every day. It was because every morning before sunrise, while most people were still asleep, the lights inside his small garage flickered on, and the rhythmic sound of metal clanking against metal echoed through the neighborhood. Ethan wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. He wasn't even the kind of man people expected to succeed. He was simply a 36-year-old single father raising his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, after losing his wife, Emma, in a tragic accident 5 years earlier. Life had forced him to grow up faster than he ever imagined. Every dollar mattered. Every hour mattered. Every decision had to be made with Lily in mind. His tiny repair shop on the edge of town barely paid the bills, but Ethan never complained. He believed that if you worked honestly and treated people fairly, life eventually rewarded you, even if it took longer than expected. Lily often sat on an old wooden stool in the corner of the garage after school, doing homework while her father repaired engines, replaced transmissions, and brought forgotten vehicles back to life. Customers loved Ethan because he never charged for repairs that weren't needed, and he always explained every problem before touching a wrench. That honesty earned him loyal customers, but it also kept his profits modest compared to flashy dealerships that cared more about sales than service. On the other side of town stood the largest luxury dealership in the county, owned by the wealthy Montgomery family. The dealership sparkled with polished glass, expensive sports cars, and smiling salespeople dressed in designer suits. After the retirement of its founder, daily operations were handed over to his daughter, Victoria Montgomery, a confident, ambitious woman in her early 30s who believed success belonged only to those who already had power. She had built a reputation for being brilliant in business but ruthless toward anyone she considered beneath her. To Victoria, independent mechanics like Ethan represented everything she disliked, small businesses that repaired old cars instead of encouraging people to buy expensive new ones. She often joked during interviews that people who drove old vehicles simply lacked ambition. Her words made headlines, but her wealth protected her from criticism. One Friday afternoon, Victoria's luxury SUV unexpectedly stalled on a country road after an important meeting. Her assistant frantically searched for the nearest repair shop and reluctantly called Ethan's garage because it was only a few miles away. Ethan arrived in his aging tow truck wearing grease-stained jeans and a faded baseball cap. Victoria barely looked at him as she complained about being late and demanded immediate service. Ethan quietly inspected the vehicle, discovered a simple electrical issue, and had the SUV running again within 20 minutes. When she asked how much she owed, Ethan smiled politely and said, "Just the standard service fee." Surprised by how inexpensive it was, Victoria almost laughed. "That's all? You could have charged more." Ethan shrugged. "I charge what's fair, not what I can get away with." She rolled her eyes, paid the invoice without saying thank you, and sped away, convinced she would never think about the small-town mechanic again. But someone else had noticed the encounter. A local journalist sitting at a nearby diner had overheard Ethan refusing to overcharge a wealthy customer. The next morning, he wrote a short article praising the honest mechanic who treated every customer the same, whether they drove a rusty pickup or a luxury SUV. The article spread quickly across local social media. Thousands of people admired Ethan's integrity, while others compared his fairness to the aggressive sales tactics often associated with large dealerships. Victoria wasn't amused. She felt embarrassed that a humble mechanic had become the town's newest hero while her dealership became the subject of criticism. During a Monday executive meeting, she sarcastically tossed the newspaper onto the conference table and mocked the article, calling Ethan nothing more than a man fixing junk that belongs in scrapyards. Several employees laughed nervously, but one young salesman quietly disagreed. "People trust him because he's honest," he said. Victoria dismissed the comment with a cold smile. "Trust doesn't build empires. Money does." Those words echoed through the room, but not everyone believed them. Meanwhile, Ethan remained completely unaware of the growing tension. His biggest concern that week wasn't publicity or wealthy business owners. It was helping Lily prepare for her school's science fair. Every evening after work, they sat together at the kitchen table building a simple volcano project from cardboard and paint. Lily adored spending time with her father. She knew he worked harder than anyone else she had ever met, yet he never missed her soccer games, school events, or bedtime stories. "Mom would have loved this," Lily whispered while painting the volcano. Ethan smiled softly despite the sadness behind his eyes. "She'd say we used too much glue," he joked. Lily laughed, and for a brief moment, the little house felt whole again. Neither of them realized that across town, a wealthy businesswoman was already planning something that she believed would humiliate the mechanic forever. Ethan slowly walked toward the first broken car, ignoring the cameras, the whispers, and the people waiting for him to lose his temper. Instead of shouting, he picked up a cracked bumper from the ground and leaned it carefully against the vehicle. Then he turned to the police officer and calmly asked if the cars had been legally abandoned. After checking the paperwork, the officer confirmed that every vehicle had been signed over to Ethan's property through a towing company hired by an anonymous client. Whoever planned this prank had made sure it was technically legal, leaving Ethan responsible for removing 12 worthless cars. The crowd expected disappointment to wash over his face, but something else appeared instead, a quiet smile. He walked from one vehicle to the next, opening hoods, checking frames, studying engines, and making notes in a small notebook he carried everywhere. "Dad, why are you smiling?" Lily whispered. Ethan looked at his daughter and gently replied, "Because people only see 12 broken cars. I see hundreds of good parts, a few rare engines, and opportunities nobody else noticed." Those words left everyone speechless. Across town, Victoria Montgomery watched the live footage from her office, laughing with her executives as they waited for Ethan's business to collapse under the cost of hauling away the junk. But she didn't realize that the greatest mistake in business is underestimating someone who knows how to create value where others see only waste. As Ethan closed the hood of the last vehicle, he looked across the row of abandoned cars with calm determination, unaware that this cruel joke had just opened the door to the biggest opportunity of his life, one that would eventually shake the entire automotive industry in Ashford. And if you're excited to see how Ethan turns this humiliation into an unbelievable comeback that no one saw coming, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications, because Chapter 3 reveals the hidden discovery inside one of the broken cars that changes everything forever.